Have you ever woken up feeling fine only to notice your ankles look a little puffier? Or your morning urine seems just a bit foamier than usual? Most people shrug it off thinking it's dehydration or just aging. But what if I told you those small innocent signs could be your kidneys crying for help? Every single day, thousands of Americans silently lose kidney function without even realizing it until it's too late. That's why kidney disease is called the silent killer. It doesn't shout, it whispers until the damage is permanent. I'm Dr. Johnny, and what I'm about to share could save your life or the life of someone you love. Because in the next few minutes, you'll discover the 10 earliest warning signs that your kidneys are becoming toxic, overworked, or slowly failing. Some of these signs show up months, sometimes years before any blood test flags a problem. But here's the thing, once your kidneys lose too much of their filtering power, no medicine or diet can fully bring them back. That's why catching these signs early isn't just smart, it's the difference between living freely and spending your life attached to a dialysis machine. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know what to look for, you'll understand how to protect, heal, and even restore your kidneys before irreversible damage sets in. Let's begin. Have you ever noticed your trips to the bathroom becoming more frequent or maybe less frequent than before? Most people don't pay attention to it. They think I probably drank too much water today, or maybe I didn't hydrate enough. But your kidneys use urination as their language, and when that language changes, it's never random. I once had a patient named Robert. He was 62, healthy on the surface, exercised a few times a week. But one morning he noticed his urine looked a bit cloudy, and sometimes it even foamed. He ignored it for months until one day he felt so tired he could barely finish his workout. When we checked his labs, his kidneys were already losing nearly 30% of their filtering power. Here's what's really happening inside your body. Your kidneys don't simply filter waste like coffee paper filters. They selectively exchange substances, pulling toxins out while reabsorbing nutrients your body needs. When the kidney tissue becomes damaged, often from high blood sugar or chronic inflammation, tiny holes form in those microscopic filters called glomeruli. As a result, things that should stay inside your body, like proteins, start leaking out. That's what creates the foam or bubbles you sometimes see in the toilet bowl. According to the National Kidney Foundation, early-stage kidney disease affects about 1 in 7 adults in the U.S. Yet almost 90% don't even know it, because symptoms like these seem too ordinary. Cloudy urine, changes in color from pale to dark amber, or an unusual odor are the body's early alarms, but they're alarms most people sleep through. So the next time your urine looks different, don't just flush it and forget it. Listen, because your kidneys are whispering a warning long before they start to scream. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because there's another hidden factor that can silently push your kidneys toward real danger. When your kidneys start whispering through your urine, the next warning often appears in your blood pressure. And here's the scary part, most people have no clue that the two are deeply connected. You see, the kidneys don't just filter blood, they control blood pressure through a complex hormonal network called the RAS system, the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. It sounds complicated, but think of it like a thermostat for your blood flow. When the kidneys detect low pressure, they release hormones that tighten blood vessels and tell the body to hold on to more sodium and water. That's fine for emergencies, but when this system is overactivated for years, it becomes a silent storm. One of my patients, Eleanor, had just a little high blood pressure, around 145/90. Her doctor said it was nothing to worry about, but behind the scenes, insulin resistance was already taking its toll. High insulin levels force the kidneys to retain sodium, which traps extra fluid in the bloodstream. More fluid means more pressure. Over time, those fragile microvessels inside the kidneys, the ones doing all the filtering, start to thicken and harden. Less blood gets through, less oxygen reaches the tissue, and the kidney begins to suffocate from the inside out. Research from the American Heart Association shows that nearly 70% of kidney failure cases are linked to hypertension and insulin resistance working hand in hand. That's not coincidence, it's a chain reaction. The blood pressure damages the kidneys, and damaged kidneys raise the blood pressure even more. It's a vicious loop that keeps tightening until something breaks. So if your blood pressure creeps above 140, don't brush it off as just stress. It might be your kidneys begging for help. Lowering refined carbs, cutting processed foods, staying hydrated, and getting enough magnesium and potassium can all help your body reset that delicate pressure balance. But only knowing this still isn't enough because the next sign, fatigue and loss of energy, reveals what happens when the kidneys can no longer keep up and your entire body begins to feel the crash. When high blood pressure squeezes your kidneys long enough, it doesn't just strain those tiny filters, it starts starving your entire body of oxygen. And that's when the fatigue creeps in. Robert, the same patient I mentioned earlier, once told me, "Doc, I feel like my energy's been stolen. I sleep fine, but I wake up tired." That's one of the most common things I hear in my clinic. And here's why it happens. Your kidneys don't just clean your blood, they also instruct your body to make it. Inside your kidneys lives a hormone called erythropoietin, or EPO for short. Think of it as a signal flare. It tells your bone marrow to create new red blood cells. But when the kidneys are damaged or clogged with inflammation, they stop sending that signal. The result, you start running low on red blood cells, what we call anemia. And without enough red blood cells, your body can't carry oxygen efficiently. Every organ, every muscle, even your brain starts operating on half power. Scientific studies show that anemia is one of the earliest metabolic effects of chronic kidney disease, often appearing before any major lab numbers change. That's why you might feel weak, dizzy, or even mentally foggy long before your doctor says your blood work looks bad. It's not just about sleep or caffeine, it's about oxygen. Without proper oxygen delivery, even simple things like climbing stairs, taking a walk, or focusing at work start to feel exhausting. So if you've been constantly tired for no clear reason, don't just assume it's age stress or lack of rest. It could be your kidneys whispering that they're no longer fueling your body the way they used to. But understanding fatigue is only part of the puzzle, because the next sign doesn't just drain your energy, it changes your body's appearance in a way you can literally see in the mirror. When fatigue becomes your new normal, the next thing your body might show you isn't just how it feels, it's how it looks. Swelling, puffy ankles, tight shoes by afternoon. That's not just water weight or getting older. It's your kidneys struggling to keep up. One of my patients, Margaret, noticed her socks left deep marks around her ankles every evening. She thought it was just poor circulation. But when we tested her kidney function, her eGFR had already dropped below 60, meaning her kidneys were filtering less than 2/3 of what they used to. Here's what's going on inside your kidneys' balance fluid by managing sodium, potassium, and a crucial blood protein called albumin. Albumin acts like a sponge. It holds water inside your blood vessels. When kidney filters become damaged, they start leaking albumin into the urine. Without that sponge effect, fluid seeps out into the surrounding tissues, especially in your feet, legs, and sometimes even around your eyes. That's why you wake up with puffy eyelids or notice swelling that worsens through the day. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, over 26 million Americans show early signs of this kind of fluid imbalance, but most dismiss it as a circulation issue or diet problem. In reality, it's your kidneys waving a red flag. The danger. The swelling means pressure inside your blood vessels is rising, which adds even more strain on already struggling kidneys. It becomes a loop: water retention rising, blood pressure, more kidney damage, more swelling. If this sounds familiar, it's time to act fast, lower sodium intake, drink enough water, not too much but consistently, and move your body daily to support circulation. Even simple changes can ease the load on your kidneys before things spiral. But recognizing swelling alone won't save you, because the next warning sign hides in something you see every day, yet almost no one connects it to kidney damage. When your ankles start to swell, your kidneys are already sending a louder message, and sometimes that message shows up in the toilet bowl. I know it sounds strange, but those tiny bubbles or a layer of foam on your urine aren't just harmless fizz. They can be one of the clearest signs that your kidneys are leaking what they were never meant to lose. One of my patients, Daniel, came in embarrassed to even mention it. He said, "Doc, I think I'm imagining things, but my urine looks like beer foam lately." It wasn't his imagination. His lab results revealed significant protein in his urine, what we call proteinuria. And that's a sign the kidney filters, the glomeruli, had microscopic tears. You see, those filters are supposed to keep large molecules like protein inside your bloodstream where they belong. But when chronic inflammation, high blood pressure, or diabetes start damaging those tiny vessels, proteins slip through and end up in your urine. The result, foam, persistent, thick-lasting foam that doesn't disappear quickly. According to research from the National Kidney Foundation, proteinuria is one of the earliest physical signs of kidney damage, appearing years before a blood test shows reduced filtration. And the more protein you lose, the faster your kidney function declines. It's like losing the very building blocks your body needs to repair itself. So if you ever notice foamy or bubbly urine that lingers after flushing, don't ignore it. It's not about hydration or diet. It's about your kidneys fighting to hold the line. But spotting the foam is just the surface, because what comes next can make your muscles cramp, your nights restless, and your mornings painful. And that's where the real struggle begins. When the kidneys begin leaking protein, they're not just losing building blocks, they're also throwing off the body's entire electrical rhythm. That's when muscle cramps start creeping in, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes while you're just walking or stretching. It's your body's way of shouting, something's off. I remember a patient named Linda who would wake up almost every night clutching her calves, describing the pain as if someone twisted her muscles like a wet towel. At first she thought it was dehydration, or maybe her shoes, but her blood tests told a different story. Her sodium and potassium levels were completely out of balance because her kidneys could no longer regulate them properly. Here's what happens. Your kidneys act like the conductors of an orchestra, keeping electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium in perfect harmony. But when those filters get damaged, the balance collapses. Too much sodium leads to fluid retention. Too little potassium causes nerves and muscles to misfire. That's why kidney-related cramps often feel sharper, deeper, and harder to relieve than regular muscle fatigue. Studies show that up to 50% of people with chronic kidney disease experience recurrent muscle cramps, often as one of the first symptoms before they even realize their kidneys are struggling. And the more advanced the imbalance becomes, the more frequent and severe those cramps get. If you've been dealing with unexplained cramps, especially if they come alongside swelling or changes in urination, it's time to pay attention. Increasing magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens or adding balanced electrolytes without excess sodium can help. But the real fix comes from protecting your kidneys before the imbalance worsens. But knowing this is still just half the story, because once these imbalances start taking hold, the damage doesn't stay in your muscles. It begins to affect every organ, even your mind and your senses. When electrolyte imbalances start to spiral, the problem doesn't stay hidden in your muscles, it climbs all the way up to your taste buds. Many people describe it as a strange, metallic, or battery-like taste in their mouth, almost as if they've been chewing on coins. It sounds minor, but it's one of the body's final warning flares that toxins are building up faster than the kidneys can clear them. One of my longtime patients, David, a retired firefighter, came to me saying food had started tasting like metal. His wife thought he was losing his sense of taste with age, but the truth was far more serious. His kidneys were no longer filtering urea efficiently, and as urea levels rose, it began converting into ammonia inside his mouth. That's what creates that bitter metallic flavor, and it often comes with nausea, loss of appetite, and unexplained weight loss. Biochemically, this happens because when the kidneys fall behind on detoxifying waste products like urea and creatinine circulate in the bloodstream, eventually reaching your saliva glands. Every bite you take, every breath you exhale carries a faint trace of those toxins. Over time, it dulls your desire to eat and saps your strength, further accelerating the downward spiral of kidney decline. A study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that more than 60% of late-stage kidney patients report metallic taste and appetite changes before they ever begin dialysis. It's not just a symptom, it's a signal that the blood itself is turning toxic. So if your favorite foods suddenly taste off, or you notice a bitter metallic flavor that won't go away, don't brush it off. Your taste buds are reflecting what your kidneys are struggling to remove. But this warning doesn't stop at your mouth, because when toxins start reaching your brain, the next sign can quietly steal your focus, your clarity, and even your personality. When waste starts building up in your bloodstream, it doesn't just affect your taste buds, it hijacks your brain. Many people call it brain fog, but it's much more than just forgetfulness. It's a sign that your brain is literally running on polluted fuel. I once worked with a teacher named Patricia who used to be sharp as a tack. She could juggle lesson plans, grade papers, and remember every student's name. But one day she told me, "Dr. Johnny, I can't seem to think straight anymore. It's like my brain's in slow motion. We checked her labs, her kidneys were filtering at less than half capacity, and toxins like urea were circulating through her blood. Those same toxins cross the blood-brain barrier, disrupting the delicate chemistry that keeps your neurons firing efficiently. You see, your brain is one of the most energy-hungry organs in your body. It needs a constant flow of clean, oxygen-rich blood. When your kidneys can't remove metabolic waste, that buildup changes the acidity and chemical balance of your bloodstream. The result: poor concentration, slower reaction time, mood swings, even depression. It's your brain quietly suffocating in a sea of toxins. Scientific data from the American Journal of Nephrology shows that people with moderate to severe kidney impairment are 3 times more likely to experience cognitive decline compared to those with healthy kidney function. It's not that they're aging faster, it's that their blood is poisoning the very organ that defines who they are. If you've been forgetting simple things, losing focus, or feeling mentally foggy for no reason, your brain might not be the problem, your kidneys might. Because when your filter fails, your mind follows. But this fog doesn't just stay in your head, it can literally escape through your breath. And that next sign is one that people notice but rarely understand until it's far too late. When brain fog sets in, the toxins inside your blood don't just stay hidden, they start to escape through your breath. Many people describe it as a faint metallic or chemical smell, while others say it reminds them of ammonia or cleaning fluid. Either way, that smell isn't from your mouth, it's from your blood. I'll never forget a patient named Thomas. His wife brought him in because, as she put it, his breath smells like chemicals, and it's been getting worse. He brushed it off thinking it was dental hygiene, but his kidneys told a different story. His blood tests showed a dramatic rise in urea, a waste compound that healthy kidneys normally flush out through urine. When the kidneys fail to do that, urea breaks down into ammonia, which then seeps out through your lungs every time you exhale. That's why brushing your teeth or using mouthwash doesn't fix it. Because the odor isn't coming from your mouth, it's coming from inside your body. It's the smell of toxins escaping through the only exit left. A study from the National Institute of Health revealed that up to 85% of people with late-stage kidney disease experience this ammonia-like breath before reaching dialysis. It's one of the clearest external signs that the blood has become chemically imbalanced, and often it shows up when other symptoms, fatigue, swelling, and brain fog are already in full swing. If you've noticed that your breath smells strange, especially in the mornings, and no amount of brushing helps, it's not just bad breath, it's a red alert that your kidneys are overwhelmed. Because here's the terrifying truth: when toxins start escaping through your lungs, your body's final line of defense is already in motion. But knowing this isn't the end of the story, because the next and final sign can make it hard to breathe, both literally and figuratively. It's the one symptom that determines whether your kidneys can still recover or whether it's already too late. When toxins start escaping through your breath, your body is already fighting to stay balanced. But when your breathing itself becomes difficult, that's when the situation turns critical. You might notice yourself gasping after climbing a flight of stairs, feeling winded, just walking across the room, or waking up at night needing to catch your breath. Most people think it's the heart or the lungs, but more often than you'd believe, it starts with the kidneys. I once treated a patient named Eleanor, yes, the same woman who thought her high blood pressure was no big deal. Months later, she came back saying, "Dr. Johnny, I can't breathe like I used to. Even resting feels like running." When we checked her chest, her lungs were filled with fluid. It wasn't pneumonia. It was pulmonary edema fluid leaking into her lungs because her kidneys could no longer regulate water balance or protein levels. Here's how it happens: as the kidneys lose their ability to control sodium, and protein pressure builds up in the blood vessels. That excess fluid seeps out not just into your legs or face, but into the spaces around your lungs. When that fluid collects, it suffocates your oxygen exchange. You breathe faster, but every breath feels shallower, heavier, like you're trying to breathe through a wet sponge. There's another layer to this anemia. When your kidneys stop producing enough erythropoietin, your body makes fewer red blood cells. That means less oxygen gets carried to your tissues, compounding the breathlessness even more. Medical research shows that shortness of breath in late-stage kidney disease often results from a combination of 4 deadly mechanisms: fluid overload, anemia, acidosis, and heart strain. It's the body's final alarm bell signaling that the kidneys can no longer maintain equilibrium. If you've ever felt that kind of breathlessness without a clear reason, don't ignore it. Your body is telling you it's drowning from the inside. But even here, even when things look this severe, there's still one thing more powerful than any symptom awareness. Because the story doesn't have to end here. The next part may be the most important of all: how to stop this decline and protect your kidneys before it's too late. If you've recognized even one of these 10 warning signs, please don't panic. Awareness is power, and catching the problem early could be the very thing that saves your kidneys. Remember, the body's incredibly resilient when you give it the right support. Start by cutting back on processed foods and sugary drinks. Drink water steadily throughout the day. Manage your blood pressure and blood sugar, and move your body a little every day. Those simple habits are what keep your kidneys young, clean, and strong. And if you've been diagnosed with early-stage kidney disease, don't lose hope. Many of my patients have improved their filtration rates just by changing their diet and lifestyle before medication or dialysis ever became necessary. If you found this video helpful, make sure to save it, because you might need to come back and rewatch these signs as a reference. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the latest videos on how to protect your kidneys and strengthen your overall health. Because knowledge like this can literally change a life, maybe yours or someone you care about. I'm Dr. Johnny, reminding you that health isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, action, and small choices made every single day. Take care of your kidneys and they'll take care of you for the rest of your life. Stay healthy, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.